How's everybody doing? I know you guys have been waiting so long for this. I'm 12 Titan for life, and this is the return, episode 9 of NFL Talk. Welcome everybody. If you've never watched this show before, it's where we hit the Mudhead Forum, we go to the sports discussion forum, I pick some topics, and I talk about some topics. And if you have a topic you want to submit for next week's episode, you can do that either on Twitter. I'm at 12 Titan for life on Twitter. There's always a link in the description below. Or you can leave a comment in this video and I'll get to that topic as well if it fits what I like to do. And we're going to start with this one. I have not quite read it yet. I just read the little title. Genos Jets. He's made many appearances on this show. He says, huge game, first at home against the Pats, and because Geno got the hookups, free tickets in a box for the Jets-Bills game in Buffalo. Let's go Gangrene. That's pretty cool. So he gets to go to the Jets-Bills game in Buffalo, have box seats. That's awesome. But he says he's pretty excited for the next couple of weeks for the Jets, and I am too, and here's why. They've played so well all year, and I think the Jets are legitimate playoff contenders, mainly because of the offensive firepower that now goes with their defense. For years, the Jets have had an outstanding defense. Muhammad Wilkerson, Darrelle Revis, Antonio Cromartie, all these guys, and then you have young guys like Calvin Pryor coming in and playing well, Leonard Williams, Sheldon Richardson has joined the bunch in the past couple years. This defense has played so well for so long, and it finally has a good offense to complement it. Ryan Fitzpatrick hasn't turned the ball over much this year, and he's been a consistent passer, getting the ball to his targets. Marshall, Decker, Bilal Powell's a good pass receiving back, and they have a great running game with Chris Ivory. I'm excited about the Jets. I think they could potentially make a run at some playoff wins and possibly even a Super Bowl. This is a good football team. I saw them beat up on the Titans last week. This is a good football team. All right, our next topic comes from Futhead. That's FIFA Ultimate Team. That's what FUT stands for. MVP Bob. And he says, please hear me out because I think all true Mudheads and good Madden players will agree with what I have to say. Matt Hasselbeck is hands down a better quarterback than Andrew Luck. Matt Hasselbeck went to a Super Bowl, and Andrew Luck has still not been to one. Matt Hasselbeck throws the ball a lot more and has a better arm. Andrew Luck is not even as good a quarterback when put into an option-style offense. Futhead MVP Bob, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you flat out you're wrong. A lot of the things you said are incorrect. The Colts don't run an option-style offense, so that's wrong. So there's incorrection number one. Number two, Andrew Luck can't control how many times he throws the ball. That's up to his offensive coordinator, which I believe right now is Rob Chudzinski, the old Browns head coach. So that's Rob Chudzinski's fault, not Andrew Luck. So there's number two. In fact, has Andrew Luck even played with Rob Chudzinski? Because I think Chud was just hired a couple weeks ago to take over the offensive coordinator job, and Luck was already injured. So I think Hasselbeck is playing today, if I'm not mistaken. Luck will return next week. This ship, being the Colts team, is better with Andrew Luck at the helm. There's no doubt about it. Matt Hasselbeck, love the guy to death. He's the last guy to have a winning season with the Titans. He went 9-7 with them in 2011. Great dude, heck of a dude. Good quarterback. He's 40. He's not going to do anything really prolific anymore. So for now, as a Colts fan, I am hoping anxiously for the return of Andrew Luck so that we can be the Texans and win the AFC South. And if I'm a Texans fan, the Texans fan, would say, let's hope Andrew Luck doesn't come back and make the playoffs ourselves. I think the biggest fear the Texans will have trying to win that division is a return from Andrew Luck, and he just takes back over that team, and they get back to the offensive powerhouse that they've historically been with Andrew Luck. Yeah, he turns the ball over a lot, but he does throw a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards, and they desperately need him back. All right, another topic from Genos Jets. Basically, he just says that Darrelle Revis Island is the best cornerback in the NFL. That's an interesting point. There are a couple of guys that I would put in that list. I'm not going to go out and say there's a best cornerback in the NFL, because there's not. There are a lot of really good and really different kind of players. And in like my top 5, of NFL cornerbacks would be Josh Norman, Darrelle Revis, Patrick Peterson, Richard Sherman, and then number 5 is kind of a toss-up for me. I'm going to go Aqib Talib at number 5. Those are 5 guys that have had incredible seasons so far, and that have been really good for a really long time. Other than Josh Norman, he kind of came out of nowhere this year. I didn't really even know he existed prior to this year, but I know according to Pro Football Focus, quarterbacks have the worst passer rating in the NFL when throwing toward him. So, I mean, he's had a remarkable year. So is Sherman. Sherman started a little slow, but he bounced back. Revis, other than the game against the Texans, he's played solid all year long. But those are my top 5 cornerbacks. So again, Patrick Peterson, Josh Norman, Richard Sherman, Aqib Talib, and Darrelle Revis. All right, our next topic comes from Fresh Guy 0129, and he's talking about the game tonight, Sunday Night Football, between the Arizona Cardinals and his Philadelphia Eagles. So let's read what he says. He says, "So tomorrow will be our hardest opponent this year, no doubt. Any person you ask, I will bet you 90% of them will say that the Cardinals will win this game. Even someone said, I'm not quite sure what that stands for. But I'm not being biased on this point because beating New England and Buffalo was no coincidence. Bradford's playing better these past 2 weeks, opposed to the whole season, throwing 3 touchdowns. Kenyon Barner's back. We don't want Murray. So basically what he's saying is that the Eagles are kind of culminating all together at this point. It's all coming together for Chip Kelly and the Eagles. I just don't know about this team. They're just so confusing. I look at the Eagles, and I'm not sure what I see, and I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm not going to say, I think they'll win the NFC East. I'm not going to say, they beat the Patriots. Woo. I don't know what to think of this team. They're good one week, and the worst thing you've ever seen the next. 1 week, Jordan Matthews is shredding whoever covers him, and then the next week he can't catch a cold. 1 week, Sam Bradford is on the money, throwing some dots, and then the next week he's Mr. Interception. They're so inconsistent. I don't see this team making any sort of legitimate playoff run. If they do win the NFC East, if they scrap out a win or two these last 2 games, and they somehow manage to win the NFC East, I see no way that they make any sort of noise in the playoffs. They're so inconsistent, and that's why. And DeMarco Murray's being used incorrectly, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. They're just not a good team. They have a lot of talent. And one of my favorite quotes ever, and I will say this over and over again, if you ask me, I will tell you this, comes from Michael Irvin, the playmaker. And he says, a team is not a collection of talent, it is a collaboration of talent. Eagles have a lot of talent. DeMarco Murray. Sam Bradford was a former number 1 overall pick of a draft. Jason Peters, best left tackle in the game. You got Zach Ertz, a good young tight end. Brent Selleck, an older tight end. You've got Miles Austin, a veteran receiver. You've got Jordan Matthews, a young up-and-coming receiver. Nelson Aguilar, the rookie. Then you go defense. You've got Fletcher Cox, one of the best interior pass rushers in the NFL. Connor Barwin, edge rusher. Brandon Graham, edge rusher. Michael Kendricks, Kiko Alonso. Walter Thurman, Byron Maxwell. The list goes on and on and on and on of all these really talented players they have, but they're not winning football games. It's not a collection of talent. It's a collaboration of talent. And that's why I don't see the Eagles win anything. They just don't play together well. They just don't mush. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of the Eagles heading into the playoffs. All right, so I'm going to give Mutt, LOB, Legion of Boom, a shout out because this is an old post that was just bumped recently. This post was from August 11th, 2015, as I can see right there. And he's basically saying, and he's giving reasons why Ryan Fitzpatrick will thrive with the New York Jets, and that Ryan Fitzpatrick, aka Fitzmagic, the Amish rifle, I've always called him Fitzy. That's what Blaine Bishop, a former Titan safety, always called him when he was in Tennessee. He says that he should be the starter over Eugene Smith III, that being Geno. And I totally agree with that. I thought that from the moment they brought him in, that he was a better quarterback than Geno. And as bad as it sounds, I was kind of happy when the whole Ike Kimpley thing happened, where he punched Geno in the jaw and he had to sit because of the injury, and Fitzy came in because I knew Fitzy would win games with this team, and he has. So I commend you, Madden Ultimate Team Legion of Boom, for this post. Very well thought out, very good, and great thoughts, and this all has completely turned out to happen, and it's awesome seeing Fitz having such great success. All right, we'll do 2 more topics, and then we will head out for today. This comes from MPK 0303. He says, OBJ is amazing. If he was a bit taller and faster, he could be one of the all-time greats. Well, I'm going to stop right there because it doesn't matter. He's still going to be one of the all-time greats. I'm just not going to read the nice, but God, Odell Beckham is, other than Calvin in his 2013 season. I've only been watching football. I'll tell you this. I didn't know like any rules of football until 2011, and now everybody's like the football expert. I've been called coach. I've been called a lot of things, but I didn't know rules of football until 2010, 2011, and so since I've been watching, the most dominant receivers I have seen are Calvin in his 2013 season when he broke the single season receiving yard mark, and Odell Beckham. AJ Green has been dominant. I will give him that. When they throw him the ball, AJ Green dominates. But so those 3 guys have been the most dominant, and Odell Beckham just does it so consistently, and he's so young too. And I don't know, he's not just a speed guy. He's not, your Tavon Austin where he's small and quick and speedy but can't do much other than that. He runs precise routes that you just don't see young guys running those kinds of routes. He has the speed. I like his size because it allows him to be faster and quicker and turn more easily, more elusive than guys like a Calvin Johnson or an AJ Green. He's just such an all-around receiver, and I've told people before, he's 5'11", but he plays like he's 6'5", and that is indeed the case with Odell Beckham. He's just so dominant, no one can cover him one-on-one. I am very excited for this afternoon. The Panthers play the Giants, and I want to see Josh Norman versus Odell Beckham Jr. That will be a heck of a matchup to watch, and I'm excited for it. All right, the final topic we're going to look at is from NukeItLuke0598, and he says, what if Josh Norman goes to Seattle this offseason? He's a pending free agent, and NukeItLuke, I would say what would happen. If that did happen, the LOB would be better than ever, I think, with Sherman and Norman and Bam Bam and ET3 and all those guys. But it's simply not going to happen. Here's a couple of reasons why. 1, the Carolina Panthers are going to sign him to a really big contract or franchise tag him. They're not going to let him go. And 2, if the Panthers did say, don't let the door hit you when Mother Nature splits you and let him leave, then the Seahawks couldn't sign him. They have no cap space because they have to pay ET3, and they have to pay Bam Bam, and they have to pay Richard Sherman, and they have to pay Russell Wilson, and they have to pay Max Unger, and they have to pay Jimmy Graham, and they have to pay Michael Bennett, and they have to pay Bobby Wagner. All these elite, really good players, they have to pay a lot of money to, and that's why they won't be able to bring in Josh Norman, because they just simply don't have the cap space. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please click that like button below. Also, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have an idea for a topic for next week, just leave it in the comments below or get at me on Twitter, and I will make it happen for you. But I will see you guys next time. Enjoy the games this afternoon. Got a lot of good ones on the slate. We'll see you next time. It's been 12 Time for Life saying goodbye, God first, and tighten up. How's everybody doing? I know you all have been waiting so... Ow.